Yeah, well, that's the thing, I mean, pass the hat, you know, I'm at that point now, except I need a couple $100,000, you know, to get it across the finish line.
But still,
Hey,
it's like,
good.
okay, you are not that sensitive.
I'm like, maybe, I don't think I'm gonna be able to.
It is, yeah.
I'm assuming the mic will be live, we just need to
It was
click a button.
a couple
Or is it live
weeks
now?
ago, she had fallen asleep in the car and I was trying to transfer her to the bedroom. And my husband, and I'm sure there's a basement on
Sure.
the first floor or the second floor. My husband had a lot of things to do, so I had carried her
1, 2,
up
1, 2.
all 42 pounds of her up 2
Good.
flights of stairs in like 2 days afterwards.
1, 2. There you go.
Yeah.
And then,
My son has one of those,
okay.
beds that.
Yeah, that way we don't have to eat the mic. Yeah. And then this, yep.
Well, I'm very.
Oh, at the bottom, okay.
It's kind of like a bunk bed.
Check, check. Check, check. 1, 2.
So you could put it up, but you could.
Basically standing right under a speaker. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
When it's up, I can't, no. It's like, it's like, either my husband does it, or,
Okay.
All right,
Thanks so much.
appreciate it. Thanks. Step back. Yeah. So yeah, so and this, the whole notion of this is being able to get poorly recognized, be able to take those publications and say, hey, these people published, and look at their
So the
published.
problem, of course, is that we have what we're calling an attribution deficit, right? So PI is just uncyclable, even though there's a list.
Yeah, and they're not usually RSCs.
Right, they're not using.
Our problem is the people that are like, we paid you, why do we have to acknowledge you?
No, and it's such a ridiculous argument, right?
It's like, but are you saying which reagents you used to do your experiments? And you paid for those, how's it different?
So we figured out a way to still find the publication even for quality by building a complex search algorithm, right? And then we're able to pull that data, we're very good look through it, make sure it's confirmed, and then we can generate these visualizations of the data that are really meaningful, you know, and then they can take that.
oh, this data Kevin said? Oh, he wrote me.
Oh, he wrote that to you?
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're probably gonna have to start putting people in the same tables. Everyone's trying to spread out.
Or they won't, it'll be a year before they publish the paper.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I think I'm, as long as they do one.
Sometimes so.
I think so.
A quarter, I think.
Although I did do like five, like groups of five.
But if they don't, then we can figure out a way to build a search string and we'll find it.
So we have to do this before cells, though, many people, let's see,
That's not gonna work. The people that are entirely by themselves.
I'm gonna go and just tell her.
Unfortunately, we'll have to make them uncomfortable and say, hey,
Yeah.
5 per table.
maybe people.
Yeah, send yourself to that flat.
They are going to pay.
Yeah.
So time's pretty tight.
She was here.
Yeah, we're supposed to run upstairs and help with shows.
Oh,
Yeah, Alex mentioned this last week.
So here's what we're just doing too. That's us doing about publication. Actually have real data there.
That's good, that's good. Those are all way that, always way
Yeah,
that.
I think that's one better.
Yeah, it's like the plant things. So there are some people who do not know that pre-registration was required for this. If you guys could, after you do this, offer this as a webinar, as a workshop,
So,
or it can be done virtually.
we're gonna do events, locally, in certain
is a workshop.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
actually
yeah,
get
yeah.
to.
And so breakout rooms.
Better hopefully you're not regretting this now.
And then, yeah, and then you have to get facilitators come through to be able to set up so that you wear your flag keeper and
I
your
talked to
questions.
Michelle, she
I
said
believe
just
in
use
a
your
person
social
and
media
a
things to for times when you
okay.
have
breakout
the
rooms with
people like
moderators
speaking
and
in
just
your
breakout
area.
room. We could get people
So that's where we are on
interested
that.
in it.
Yeah,
It's our first time running it like where you
How
guys.
it goes? No, I'm just letting you know that there's a demand.
It's not a review, but it's also a taker, and so I think that's why it's
I'm
strong.
really that there's like the, an add-on.
It's
Right.
fun and cool and different and unique. But yeah, I think
No,
I
this is good.
understood
I
where they
mean,
were coming from as a
I will
reviewer.
definitely promote it for nerds.
It's really
So
challenging.
that's in like late October or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who's on that.
And there's lots of people that have been like attempting marketing, but very few
I will
people that
attend
have
the
actually
San
given
Jose. I know it's gonna be good.
Well, give us enough notice to
Sorry?
potentially, like, so if that's just for like a month or one, like, then
Push.
one of us to come and help out.
Okay.
It's just the last thing is tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have
No,
friends to do it.
so nerds.
And he was talking about how he had like some,
Yeah, I know.
before,
You guys should not have to come.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about the same person. He's actually past president of the Bay Area. I put a good example in here.
Yeah, that's what the, all right,
That would be easy. That would be an easy sell to my manager.
There's someone that keeps checking, yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. And other last year, I don't think they were checking, but maybe I was pre-registered.
Okay. I didn't realize you guys had a recording.
Yeah. Well,
Do we want to tell them to start collaborating?
We're way undersubscribed at this point.
Okay, maybe they're all gonna just appear last minute.
Hope so.
Otherwise, just start letting people in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. A few people have asked me if they could show up, and I was like, I don't care. Want to? Not like you paid extra for it.
I've definitely never been in a talk where there's a bouncer.
I actually have.
You have?
I was presenting at a conference in Madrid. This when I was at a BAS where we were sharing some sensitive data. And we had a volatile shareholder that had followed us to this meeting. And he was trying to interfere with my presentation. And so we took our manufacturing line. So I had a bouncer.
Like a legit one at that point, not just being like, are you on the list?
Nobody was gonna mess with me. Nobody was getting past him. So yeah, that's crazy. I forgot all about that. But normally no.
I will say, 25 people, the student faculty ratio is pretty good.
Yes, yeah. We can each just sit at the table with them and help them do their work.
Yeah, you toss it when you have a glove, you throw it much harder.
You know, it's my body mechanics. That's one of the
Yeah.
And it was a small fee. And so the organizers are like, no,
We can't
we'll make them
let
pay.
it.
And I was like, come on. They just want content. And so they let them in for free.
So that we can have like
I just said,
enough
rooms
people
are
to
full.
talk.
More the better. Come on.
We're gonna have better brainstorming
Exactly.
if there's
And if
like
people
4 per
paid and
table.
didn't show up, that's on them. You got your money. Just let people in, so.
And we made extra rooms,
Well, you know, if anyone is like, man, I really wish I could have come, be like, here, would you like our printout?
Yeah.
yeah.
Should we get started?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 10-2, 9-2.
That way we can get out of
We're
it
gonna go ahead
on
and
time.
get started.
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming to the workshop. So I know that you had to pay a little fee to come to this mini workshop, but not everybody's showing up. So we're kind of working on out in the hallway, people that just stroll by and want to come in. We're going to see if they can come in. We encourage you to sit at tables with other people. So what we want you to know is this is a hands-on workshop. We're going to be working together today to work through an actual paper workbook, believe it or not. We're going to give you a QR code for if you want to work on your computer, but we also have printouts here available for you today. This is our first time doing this, so bear with us. We have a lot of great content, but what I will say, and you'll see as we go, there's a lot in this workbook that this team has developed, and we're not going to get through all of it, but you're going to have a resource to take back to your institution, and we're going to get through as much of it as we can and help you fill out things as you go along. So welcome, and we look forward to working with you this afternoon. So I'm Chris Gregory. Michael and I are co-chairing this workshop and working with Heather and Austin and Adriana, and we're all going to participate. And something that's going to be a little bit different about this workshop is we're going to actually just walk around the room and sit down at your tables with you and make sure you're not getting hung up, right? We want to see you working through the sections and making progress. So you'll see us around. We're here to help. And so there are no bad questions. And as scientists, we're not trained to be marketers. We like to talk about science, right? And you can be both. And we're going to try to help you figure out how to do that today. So you're going to take over.
Yeah, so I'm trained as a scientist, but I moved into marketing. And so last year at ABRF, so Austin, Adriana, and Heather, so Heather is part of the Harvard Center for Biological Imaging and actually has a marketing background, was talking with Austin, who is a works at Montana Biotech, and Adriana, about possibly writing a paper for marketing to course. And so they got together and started drafting this paper. Well, independently, I thought, wow, it'd be great to have a session at next year's ABRF. Of course, so I submitted that as an idea. Well, Chris, who I'm on a committee for rigor and reproducibility with, submitted the same idea. And then Chris contacted me and said, hey, you and I submitted the same idea, and we're supposed to be co-chairs for a session, which actually at the time surprised me. I thought I would just submit an idea and somebody else would have to do all the work. But you know, here I am. Well, then I said, well, yeah, you know what? I have a couple people that I work with who are working with somebody from Harvard who is they're writing this paper together. And Chris was like, oh, who is that? And he's like, oh, it's like, you know, it's Heather Brown Hardy. He goes, oh yeah, I've already reached out to her. I know who she is. Was already talking to her. And so this is how you have two different institutions and, you know, people from, you know, a tools company all here together who put together this workshop. So we're glad everybody came, and we're really hoping this is productive for y'all. So if you're interested in getting a digital copy of the workbook, we have that on a QR code. You'll get to see this again, so if we skip away from it, you'll get another bite at the apple. But if you want to work digitally, you have the ability. The paper copies are there. We have plenty of them, so you could probably even take a blank one home with you if you like. Okay, so our agenda. Heather's going to kick us off, and she will be going through some of the marketing strategy and talk about some of the elements in the manuscript that Heather, Adriana, and Austin have put together. We'll come back, and Greg and I will go ahead and give you an overview of the workshop, and then a little overview of the workbook, and then the hands-on workbook will start. So you'll get your paper copies. You'll go through each section. We're going to have these sections timed, and as Chris said, we'll be around the room to help you out. And at the end, we're going to ask everybody at the different tables to share a take-home message. That way we can all learn from each other. So with that, I'd like to bring Heather up, and she'll get us started.
Thank you. So I'm going to start off with just doing a quick overview of some of the important marketing terms. This is coming from me because I've been in a core for 10 years, but I also have worked with Sykes previously. I was in industry. So many people, when they think of marketing, they think you're just announcing you exist. People are going to come once they know you're there. If I could just afford to run a Google ad, suddenly I'd be rolling in cash. But NIH and NSF won't let me spend that money. But that's not going to help you. What you really are when you're doing your marketing is saying, hi, I'm a tour guide. I can get you from point A to point B. This is your technology. And I'm the best person for this. But I can't do a whole nother city. So you need to show this is what I'm best at, and I'm the best person to help you with this. You're here, so you probably have some ideas already on why marketing matters, but let's make this very clear. So many of us are really excited about a technology, and we're very knowledgeable about that, but our average user is not that person. So just because you get the newest, most expensive, highest number instrument, that's not automatically going to get you users. That's because researchers are thinking about what questions can they answer, not the technology. So you have to be able to, in your marketing, educate what these technologies actually can do for them. And then you have the added benefit of you're going to increase your financial stability. I know there are a lot of places that are struggling right now, and so being able to diversify would really help with that. So start of the paper that should be coming out in the next month or so, we're almost there, is we did a marketing survey, and some of you may have seen that on the ABRF listserv. We asked people, what methods do they use, and did they actually work out for you? And so the most common were networking events, flyers, and institutional newsletters. But then when we looked at were they effective, we had people rank from 5 to 1, 5 being extremely effective, 1 being not effective at all. And networking events was our highest rated at 3, so it means moderately effective to go to networking events. Our worst, for marketing at least, was core marketplace listing. People thought you brought for marketing a value of 1.7, which is less than slightly effective. So if you're using core marketplace for your marketing, this isn't going to do anything for you. Next, we asked, what barriers are you encountering when you try to do marketing? And unsurprisingly, the top answers were access to marketing personnel, limited funds. So then we also had an area where people could write in their answers, and one of the big things was support for time, resources, justification, that even if you have the time, you need to justify what you're doing. Administrative constraints, it's much harder to get into a core facility than just to buy something online. Outreach, we don't have contact lists, we don't know what to tell people. And then strategy is, how are we consistent? How does this actually build on each other? So today, we're going to focus on 3 things particularly. We want you to be able to justify what you're doing. We want you to have a message that you can then spread out to people, and you're going to have cohesion in your marketing strategy to bring that message to everyone. I would like to point out the access to marketing personnel, a 2013 paper. Indiana actually paired the MBA students with core facilities and let them work on some of their business development. So if you have a business school, you might be able to work with some business students. Okay, so the biggest thing about a marketing workflow is not that it's one and done. It's going to be iterative. You're going to try things, try again, try again. And there's a variety of tools in marketing that you can use to go through these different steps. The first being self-assessment, and this is what we use as a SWOT analysis. That stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Then we're going to move on to goals, and we have a framework called SMART goals. Next, we're going to do who are we talking to, because who we're talking to means the message needs to be different, and we use an STP framework for that. What value do you bring to people? We create a value proposition today. And then we're going to plan and create messaging, and this is used marketing funnel, channels, and tactics. Once you've done your first one, you need to evaluate these with metrics, and then change things and try again. So let's go a little bit more into these frameworks. For self-evaluation, said SWOT analysis, so this is broken up into quadrants. There's internal, external, helpful, and hurtful. So internal helpful is going to be your strengths. External helpful is opportunities. What is actually happening in the field around you that you can use your strengths to actually capitalize on. And then harmful, internal, is you're going to resolve your weaknesses, ideally, and avoid threats. Now, this can be kind of a painful thing to do, to acknowledge what weaknesses you have, but if you don't acknowledge them, you can't make them better. And things to keep in mind is, even if you decide not to go into a marketing campaign, it's still critical to do a SWOT analysis on your own facility so you can make informed decisions on your core. We suggest that you ideally do this as a team. You're going to do that today, but then we'd suggest after you do the SWOT analysis, bring it back to anyone else that you're working with in the facility, whether it's a coworker or someone above and below, and ask them, do you see anything else? And then it's important you know this is an iterative process. You're not going to do it once, even after you've done it again with your coworker. You're going to try to yearly do this, possibly, because things will have changed in that time. SMART goals, these are pretty quick so that I can get over, but why do we need to do this? If you don't have a clear goal, how are you going to justify it to anyone? So a lot of people, when they go into marketing their core facility, why are they doing it and how's it going to be? Make more money. How much more money? When do you need it by? How are you going to do it? You don't have any answers with that. So an example of a SMART goal would be gain 5 new active researchers in the core facility by December, measured by new accounts created in the booking system. And how are we going to do it? Supported by 1 departmental seminar and 1 targeted email campaign. Next up, we have our marketing funnel. So this also can sometimes be thought of a customer's journey. So they're first going to become aware of your facility. Some of those people that become aware of your facility are going to consider using your facility. And then at some point, conversion is when they actually become a user. And that's not where it ends. We now want to make them loyal. And some of them will even become advocates that they'll be willing to give a talk for you to show what capabilities you have. And so why is this called a funnel? Well, that's because there's going to be fewer and fewer people. Just because someone becomes aware of you doesn't mean they're automatically going to be an advocate. Harvard Center for Biological Imaging is massive, but we probably only have a handful of people that are going to go sing our praises versus just say, we did it here. Okay, so what are some of the things to think about in these steps? I'm going to give you some examples, but when you're doing this, we really want you to be creative because these are the obvious ones. So what many people think of are as part of the awareness. So these are your flyers, newsletter, networking events, social media, listings, many of the things we are carrying. If you don't think that it's effective, it's probably because the next steps, we're not moving them through this process. So consideration, what we might consider this would be lab tours, equipment demos, and seminars. Conversion, at the HCBI, we have free consultations, and that's usually how we get them through the door. They talk to us, realize we're very knowledgeable, now they're a user. So loyalty, we put on workshops and courses to keep educating our people. And then advocacy, you're going to measure this by your word of mouth or co-authorship, maybe you run an image contest and people are really showing you all their best images. Okay, so STP, reaching our target audience. STP stands for segmentation, targeting, and positioning. What does this actually mean? So segmentation is you're going to take all of your current and potential users and you're going to group them in some way that they all have something similar. Usually you're going to group them by what do they actually need. Now, for an example, just because someone needs slides scanned, I'm a microscopist. That doesn't mean the people internally and the people from industry actually need exactly the same thing. So this is why our segmentation is important. Next, once we've segmented this, for this marketing campaign, who are you going to target? And this is going to be dependent on what is your current facility goals. Maybe you're just trying to stem the bleeding right now and you need the external customers that are paying more. Maybe you're doing fine and you really want to get more people within your university to use your facilities. And then last we have positioning. So how are you providing something that they can't get compared to alternatives? So alternatives might be other core facilities. They might be CROs. They might be a lab having their very own instrument. Why do they want to come to you versus their own instrument? So this is the last concept that we're going to go over, is value proposition. So after we've segmented people out, we're going to craft a message that's going to focus on that group of people and what do they want to accomplish. And as I said previously, the job might be slide scanning, but there are other aspects of it, your job, that are emotional or social. Do you have a brand new graduate student that's concerned that they don't know what that data means? Well, that's going to be much different than a seasoned postdoc that just needs it out quickly. So you got to think about those different aspects of the job. And then finally, where we're always going back to is you could go anywhere. Why are you choosing us specifically over those other options? And with that, that's kind of the overview, and we are going to pass out the papers now if you are like me and prefer writing everything.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so while those are getting passed around, I'll go ahead and just sort of give you a quick overview of the workshop and the agenda. So Heather went through a lot of the basic concepts on developing a marketing strategy. So the idea now is for you guys to work as groups and as a team to put some of these concepts into practice and how they might help with your core facility. So we'll go through this workbook a step at a time. We will not be going through every section, but this will give you a nice foundation for your own marketing strategy, and you'll have the opportunity to share ideas at the end. If you don't complete a section completely, it's not perfect, don't worry about it. Just take what you have and move on. Developing a marketing strategy takes time. I mean, I know when Austin, Adriana, myself, we're developing a marketing strategy, we go through this process, but literally it would be over a couple of weeks that we may be working on this. And so we'll work on it a bit, revisit it, because sometimes you just need time to background process things, get fresh ideas. So don't worry about achieving perfection here. You'll have time when you go back, you'll have these concepts, you could use this to refine it. And again, you have the QR code, you'd be able to download this workbook. We'll have extra copies if you want to take some home with you. And the agenda, so this is how we're going to go through the workbook. You can see it's broken into the various pages of the workbook and the various sections and some of the concepts that Heather covered. And so you'll have a chance to capture some of your ideas. We're going to keep time on the sessions. You'll see each session there'll be a little timer at the bottom of the screen, and we'll make verbal announcements as things get closer so you can properly pace yourself and just really stay focused on making progress. So with that, turn it over to Adriana and Austin.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Austin and myself, we work at the thank you, marketing department at Mutiny, and I feel like whenever you start doing something new, it kind of feels like a word bingo because you kind of have to learn a new language. I am an immunologist and I have done a lot of flow cytometry. So something I realize is whenever I start talking about flow cytometry with someone who hasn't done it, and I'm like, yeah, CD45, and they're like, what are you even talking about? So I saw Heather, and she was like, oh, the value proposition and their framework, STP. Uh, so that's why Austin, who's awesome, did this workbook for you guys, and we're going to walk you through all of this. And hopefully, this will give you a much clearer idea of how marketing is done, at least the way we do it at Miltony for our products. Do you want to introduce the next section? And yourself.
My name's Austin.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I think it's for the recording, though.
Well, hello.
Pass it, we'll get it fixed.
My name's Austin. I also work in marketing at Miltenny Biotech, and again, with everything that Adriana said, ditto to that. But again, I also wanted to say some of the best ideas that I have is when it comes to collaboration and discussions with my peers. And so that's why I think this is going to be a really great opportunity, especially from people from different organizations. And I'm sure some of you have already tried certain marketing-esque tactics. And it's great either A, to refine those, maybe it didn't work, and either discuss how you could refine those better, or if it didn't work, you don't have to do it again, and you can go on to the next. I think there are definite learnings that you have from those activities that you've done. So should we hop into it?
Yeah.
So we can hop into page 1. So this is just an intro and a reflection. Basically, we want you to think about what role does your core facility play at your institution? What value do you offer at your institution? And then also think about what is your biggest challenge in achieving financial sustainability? And if that's your goal or your intention of participating in marketing or why you're here. If financial sustainability isn't your goal, what is your biggest challenge in achieving that, that overarching goal that you have? And then also, we want you to think about what stakeholders do you need to consider? Is it obviously yourself, your staff, the institutional higher-ups,
Your users, and then we stakeholder groups that we think are relevant, but if you are like collaborators now, what do they have to do with here with me, right? You can just put whatever you think is important. So we're gonna have 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and we're gonna go around. Also, if anyone needs pens, please raise your hands, and we do have pens. No, you're good? Awesome. First page. Yeah, the full first page. No one said pens.
Okay, we're at about 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Halfway there.
Yes, chef.
No pets.
I love it. It's like the SATs or something. Pens down.
Give them all PTSD.
Oh, that's nothing I'd ever want to do again.
About 1 more minute, and then we can move on to the next section.
So what's next? Who's going to cover? You got it?
Yeah. Are you SWOT analysis?
I can do it.
You want to do it,
I
Chris?
do them all the time, so I'm happy to talk about it.
That'd be great, because
There's some
more
variety.
people have more history and some specifics.
Specific, yeah.
Like products and stuff.
Coming up on the dancing red. Okay, we are at 5 minutes, so we'll go ahead and move on.
Thumbs up, pins down. Yeah, hands up. Yes, chef. So, all right, we're going to move to a SWOT. And how many have done a SWOT analysis before? Oh, okay, you. You'll be better at it. It's not that tough, but we just want to walk you through it so you can see what it's like. It's in your book. You can work through the table that's there. It's a strategic planning tool. Industry uses it, and now we're teaching you how to use it in academia. And it's really a way for you to identify what your issues are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. And the thing to think about, and as Heather explained it before, I thought was really helpful. We're thinking about internal things on the strengths and weaknesses, and we're talking about external things on the opportunities and threats. Okay, so the internals you can control somewhat, depending on your institution. You may be able to impact things internally. Externally, those are coming at you, and you need to be prepared for them, or you're already facing them as challenges. So that's kind of how we want you to think about this: internal versus external. You've all got strengths, that's why you're here, but you also have some weaknesses, and you need to be really honest with yourself about this. Nobody's going to grade your test, okay? So be honest, because if you're not, that's the first step, right? Is admitting we have a problem. And so let's be sure honest with ourselves. Opportunities, these are exciting. These are things we can go after. These are things that we can potentially transform our business with. And these are not so good, so we have to be ready for them. We have to prepare for these kind of threats. So that's the concept. And it's yeah, you can go to the next slide. It's a very straightforward table, just set up in this 4-box. And you can see the internal versus the external, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We gave you some examples over here just to get the juices flowing. Depending on your institution, you may have very different challenges, and you may face very different opportunities as well, depending on where you're located. And so think about some of these examples we've given you. Come up with your own. Just make sure it's realistic and that you're being honest with yourself. We're going to give you about 15 minutes for this, and we're happy to come and sit at your tables and walk you through these SWOTs if that would be helpful.
5 minutes left. About 1 minute.
Okay. Pens up. I know everyone's having some really good conversation, but we just need to make sure that we stick to the time. And then, obviously, we'll be here afterwards, for a bit. So if there's any other questions, we're happy to answer them. So pages 3 and 4, I believe, are regarding your goals, and specifically converting your overarching goal, whatever that is, into a SMART goal. And as Heather mentioned, SMART being an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Yeah, so we'll be walking around.
All of this SWOT that you did, because now you know where you're standing. So now you can be like, oh, my goal is increase revenue, but I already know that the trend is people who think this should be free, or people who do not know the value that I bring, And then you can, instead of just increase revenue, you can put something like Heather said, like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna get an increase of 20% of users by doing a seminar on the value that we bring by next September. Sounds good?
Yep.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna put, if you don't mind, actually. It's like a different people. You don't have different.
It's Aloha Bar. Since I became a boss, I always use that.
That's right.
Nothing's worse than a angry toddler.
That's for sure. How old's your kid?
5.
5. My grandson's 3.
Oh.
I have a 3-year-old grandson and a 3-month-old granddaughter now. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Being a grandpa is the best thing in the world.
Yeah,
It's the best.
I can see that. You get the cuteness, but then your dog's skills are actually pretty serious.
Yeah, and you don't even want to try to because it pisses your kids off when you try to
Yes.
do that, right?
Yeah.
So figure out your boundaries, and then you're just the fun grandpa, you know? You just play. It's amazing. When I'm having a bad week or whatever, my wife does some babysitting for them, and I'm like, I'm going with you this morning because I just need to smell a baby head and play with Ezra, and then I'll be good.
And he
calls me Doc, which is even better. I mean, because it applies, and then my wife's grandpa was called Doc. It's like, let's carry that on. I like that. So he calls me Doc all the time. He was telling my wife a couple weeks ago, they were laying on the couch talking. He's a Jabberbucks, and he goes, "You know that Doc guy? He's fun." I was like, yes. I got the endorsement. This is the best.
I feel like they changed so much when they are three from a team of four
Oh yeah.
because they stop being babies and
Mhm.
they become kids.
Mhm. With agency,
Yeah.
yeah, they can say no.
Yeah, exactly. Like my godson figured out he would say no, and that was the end,
Mhm.
And he's like, well, you cannot make me do what you want. I can only do what I want. We were all like that though. It's paybacks. When you see that in your own children, it's like, oh. It's fun. Are you gonna bring anything, Zach?
I've never been big on that. I mean, he gets stuff all the time. We're always taking him. He doesn't need anything, and so Pittsburgh would be like, I don't know what that means. He hasn't selected a sport yet or anything. So if he was into the Steelers, sure, I would take him something back. That'd be fun. But
Looking for a penguin shirt or
a what?
a penguin
Oh
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great.
for the hockey
Yeah,
team.
sure.
Because I was talking about them with Pittsburgh, and my husband was like, "Oh, they have a great hockey team,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's like this penguin that's so cute on the shirt."
Uh-huh.
And my son was there. He was like, "Mom, can I have a shirt with penguin?"
So you have to now.
But if I do get it, like it will remind me.
Yeah.
Because I'm also like, if you don't get what you want, that's also fine.
Yeah, that's a really important lesson.
Yeah.
We played a lot of games with our kids, and we didn't let them win. It's just like that's not how life works.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't try to crush them or anything. But if you don't win, you don't win, and you need to learn that lesson as early as you possibly can. So.
Yes. And it's a hard lesson to learn.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And I do sometimes still.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. I guess I should get back to work.
Time is up. Do you want to do STP? That's all you.
Hello. Okay, guys. Maybe you haven't completed this section. That's fine. You're gonna walk away with this, and the idea was to just choose one goal. I know, like there's like a lot of different goals, so different things we want to do, but just choose one. So we can kind of like go deeper into that one. So this is a tool that is called STP framework, and it's gonna help us decide who to focus and how to position your facility in a way that resonates with the audience that you choose. Okay, because you all have different type of customers. Like some customers are, well, the PIs. You might not see them because they send their students, but they are a customer. The students might be another group of customers, and they all have different needs. So we're gonna do a segmentation, like who are your main user groups? Oh, this is page 5, by the way. That you work with, then targeting, then positioning, like how do you want them to perceive you? And then we're gonna just put this into a little table, okay? Okay, so we're gonna have 15 minutes to do this.
And then just a quick comment on what a segment is. You think of segment in terms of industries up there as an example or an industry. It's a group of people with a unique need. Correct.
Exactly.
You get it.
It also could be like internal customers versus external customers.
So it doesn't necessarily
Or-
be industry, marketing, any of that.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Is it just that? Boom.
would like feedback from people on this and what they like, what they dislike,
Yeah.
how we might be able to improve it.
That would be
Because I
really
have a
good.
feeling this is not our last rodeo.
Uh-uh.
I'm happy too. And another thing too that came to mind too, good disagree. I never really think of cores as, aside as having a competition, but you do. Like everybody else, right? People have alternatives. I mean, we probably even talk about like a whole other thing about competitive analysis and competitive positioning too. I mean, not saying we do this right away, but
It's really important. And one of the biggest things we face is just individual labs that got some money to buy their own flow and their own microscope, and they're killing us.
Yeah.
And you may have a center director that's really generous and he wants to retain faculty, so he gives them money to buy their own stuff. And I fight that all the time. And
Yeah,
so
well,
we
yeah.
instituted a policy where if they're going to buy a piece of kit, it has to come through me now, and then I have to be able to say, okay, but it needs to go in the core, and you're going to get priority access. You got to stop putting them in labs.
Yeah, it's also interesting too because we as vendor, we get people approaching us and they want to buy a piece of equipment and we start talking to them. It's like, I said, well, yeah, how have you been doing? She said, they seem to, it's a flow cycle, whatever. You seem to have a pretty good understanding of flow. And I was like, oh, so what system is? Oh, we've been using the core. And the back, the core is like stacked up, too busy. Like they always have reasons
Yeah.
for why they don't want to go to the core, or the core's all the way on the other side of campus.
Yeah.
Those are like, those are your client's objections, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and that's a whole other, that's more on the sales side, objection handling, right? But,
Yeah, I mean, there's so many topics we could cover
oh, yeah.
that are relevant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like I said, I think one of the reasons I think I love being involved in ABSF is this phenomenal hybrid of science and business.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect.
I think if I ever, like, if I got a mulligan on my career, I bet you I'd probably want to go like to being a core director or core manager.
Yeah, yeah. Or a core administrator. I mean, the fun I have is I get to talk to all these amazing smart people every day, and see what they're doing, try to help them overcome their challenges. I don't have to be in the weeds helping them operate their instrument.
Yeah.
We just make sure they have what they need to be successful.
Yeah. Well, I sort of my hands-on scientist journey was interesting at first. I loved being at the bench, just stripping plates, mixing the clear liquids together, and then I got to the point I said, yeah, I want to be able to design a good experiment, all the right controls, and then I got to the point it's like, well, then it's like, yeah, I didn't mind the bench, it's okay. Yeah, I know how to design a good experiment, but now I want to get great data.
Mm-hmm.
And then got to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm generating all this great data. Then I got to the point it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm more interested in looking at good data.
I don't want to be on the generation side of it anymore.
It was interesting.
Same.
Yeah. I remember one of the people in my committee, my thesis committee, he was a young assistant professor. He got going on things, and he got drug into all the things that new tenure track faculty, like committee meetings, sucking up to senior faculty, getting grants, doing other teaching, and so he had no time to be at the bench. And he was one of those skilled set of hands in the lab, and I'm stuck in my office.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
We try to let the first-time assistant professors, we try to let them just focus on research 90% of their time. It's like, you don't have to do any committees, you don't have to teach unless you want to.
Yeah.
And it's really important to help them get that solid start. Get a grant. That's what we want you to do. And the next year, get a grant.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I decided pretty early on in graduate school that I didn't want to pursue like an academic career
Yeah.
because I saw these young assistant professors come in, and actually one of them was my PI, and the system just seemed grinding. Like I saw one person's just the stress just took over this poor person's life, and then one guy he just threw everything he had into it, was working through long, arduous weeks, but his family fell apart.
Yeah.
And then the guy who tried to balance it all, who's my PI, smart guy. But the thing is that he, and it's funny, on the way out there, it's like, yeah, I didn't figure out how to play the game early enough. He didn't see all that because he was one of those people. He was trained in Boston, and if you asked him his opinion, he gave his unvarnished opinion.
So he wasn't political enough.
No, he didn't.
It's a tough one to learn.
Yeah, yeah. He learned it the hard way, but he learned it. I like other people telling me, like, here's the mistake I made. You don't make that same one.
Yeah. If these gray hairs are good for anything, it's that, right? I've made a ton of mistakes, let me tell you about them, so you don't make the same
Oh
one.
yeah, I do that all the time. If you want some unsolicited old man advice, here you go.
And it's usually unsolicited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I wish someone had told me this.
I know when my son calls and I don't expect it, it's usually about his job. Because, you know, and I appreciate that. Been there, done that, but that's always a really great conversation. Here's my options, here's what I'm thinking, what do you think? It's
Yeah.
like, that's fun.
Yeah, I got that relationship with my sons too. They both just kind of, the youngest one just kind of launched officially. Moved out of his mom's house basically a few weeks back. Finished college, and job market's terrible. But
Yeah.
it's not like he has his career job, but he's working and he's able to pay his own bills.
Yeah.
My oldest, he's doing great. He's actually, I'll actually see him at the end of April. He's a distance trail runner.
Really? Wow.
He's doing a 100-mile race.
I was gonna say, does he do the hundreds?
He's doing 100 miles. He's done 50. He's done 50 miles. He's done 100 Ks. This is his first 100 miles, so I'm gonna go.
Where's he doing it?
It ends in Auburn. It's like in the Sierras.
Okay.
So he's
Does he
gonna.
have sponsors?
No. And he has me as one of the people in his crew to
Yeah.
drop bags.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm going out.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, no, and the thing is too, this young man was kind of that, college party animal, and he got out of college and figured out pretty quick that, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life. He doesn't drink anymore. His girlfriend's a vegan. Oh man, and he's just a crazy runner. His times are phenomenal. He's done these races in Oregon, so he lives in Bend, Oregon. And he's placed second overall in some of these things. And the thing is, he's a leaner version of me, basically. Like he's kind of barrel chested kind of kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a runner. He's got that long limbs, thin kind of guy.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's always fun to see him on the podium next to the other people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm proud of how the evolution he had
Yeah, right.
after he left college.
He's adulting better than he was before, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had more responsibility, and I didn't. And I think that's kind of on me. Not that people just always moving bad about announcing times up. Yeah, when you got that last block on the 15, it crawls nice and slow. Okay, we're at 15 minutes, so we get to move on to the next section, which will be value prop. Adriana, Austin, do you want to discuss value prop? Okay, I'm not sure if you guys have your microphones or not.
So on page 6 is where we'll start crafting a value prop. And so what is a value prop? It is a clear statement on the value you bring to your customer. Good description. It should clearly articulate who you serve, what problem you solve, and why you are the best choice versus the alternative. Creating a value prop is a continuous and iterative process, so don't expect to have a perfect one today. It takes a long time. It takes months sometimes. And why is this? Is because markets change, funding priorities vary, research advances. So with a value prop, it's good to research, test, refine based on customer feedback or market insights. So I guess the goal for today is mainly to get a good working draft. What a value prop is not, it's not a slogan or tagline. So like just do it, it would not be a value prop. It's not a list of features. It's not just listing out all the things you offer. It's not a mission statement. It's not a generic claim. It's not an elevator pitch, and it's not internal focused. And you know, we are the best core this, for X, Y, and Z is more positioning. We help you get published faster is more value prop. There is an example on, you'll see in step 2. You know, an example is for academic researchers, we help generate high quality, publication ready imaging data quickly and with expert guidance among all available facilities because we deliver fast results with stronger support. That was an example that we came up with. So yeah, I guess on here, so to kind of help you create a value prop, we also want you to consider the users and what their functional, emotional, and social jobs are. So when we think of a functional job, what are the tasks that they need to complete? When it's emotional, how do they want to feel? Do they want to feel confident, secure? And then, how do the social job would be how do they want others to see them? And this is, just drafting. How do they want to be perceived by their peers?
Yeah, so choose a group from the previous example, like just one, and create a value prop for that specific group. Okay? Out of the list of audiences or groups that you have, choose one. And it will take you step by step. You first think about who they are, and then you just fill out this, and at the end, all of this together is going to be your value prop. Okay? And we have 15 minutes for that.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're a little mean to each other. Only when you deserve it.
Okay, time is up on that section. And we've built in a break, so you can either keep working or you can take a break. We've got 15 minutes set aside for that, so please be back in 15 minutes at 4:45. And please come back. We got a lot more to do, so. So we may have to skip the wrap up because we've only got an hour left after the break. We've got 55 minutes.
Left.
Yeah, without the wrap up.
Okay.
So, or we can cut one of the sections.
Yeah. Let's see. Tempted to. What's customer retention? What are we doing there?
Page 13.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we can. Interesting time. I think that's what they could probably.
So, assessing success or customer retention, which you think would be better?
I think metrics is more important, quite honestly.
Okay.
Because how do you know if something's working?
Yeah.
I mean, and actually a metric, one of your metrics could be customer retention.
No, I like that. All right, so we'll bag customer retention.
Yeah, because I think interesting to action is good because that's kind of like moving somebody through that customer journey, which is very hard. I mean, yeah, because that's getting the word out. And this is the part, and this kind of I think kind of hits that advocacy thing, but too. But I think.
Yeah, I think the calls to action are good. I'm sure everything in those terms. All right, so we'll skip customer retention then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big thing. Like, people. I will see them do like some kind of like a marketing meeting or something, and they have all this great content, and it's written really smartly. It has some great points describing things, and then it's like, okay, what else do you do next?
Tell me what to do.
It's just like, hey, try to close the deal, try to move them forward. How do you pull them deeper into the funnel?
It's too passive.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool, thank you. A couple other things too, and it's not really touched on here, and maybe this is kind of just innate from people. But you guys gotta understand your customer. What keeps them up at night?
That was what I was struggling with the emotional, like, what are their worries? How can, like, what would make them feel better?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that I took this.
I didn't want to say pain point,
Yeah,
because that scares people, but.
yeah. I was when I was a buyer, I had a sales training, not the first time marketing. It's called selling marketing. Some of the things I talked about was streaming advocacy. I was like, okay, compared to this person closing top on West Coast data and timing. But I also need to justify when we have good quality.
So that's adaptable. Yeah, right. That's a little nebulous in that. I mean, if they're just only harvesting it, then that's good. But that's not what you're, that's not the only thing you're selling, right? Rice is good, but I like what you just said. Actually, we're unique in that we're the only quarry that area. And so if you could build that, that would be among the all. There are no alternatives other than methadone, and they're going to cost you an arm and a leg, right? And so we're, I don't know if it's unique or geographically, something like that. We could bring in so that they know we're here. We're the one you should come to, and you don't have to pay as much as if you went to methadone, right? And so I think that might be a way to do it. Is use that, which they may see as a weakness because you're the only one. Use that as a strength, as a selling point. Because the consultation is super important. The sample prep, they know they're going to get good data. It's going to be cheaper than the commercial option, but you really need to play up that. And we're the best around. We're the best in the area. Yeah. Sure.
I want you to go out in the field for years as a sales development manager. I don't want you to the office. You're going to be home office. You're going to have a quota. I'm like, but it really forced me out of my comfort zone. And I'm glad because
When you
now,
talk to that many people, you start realizing what their motivations truly are.
yeah, but it also got me from like being like a marketing person to understanding how tough it is to be a field-based salesperson. And that feeling when you need something from the home office and you're not getting a response and you're starting to feel like an island, having to be very self-resilient. Yeah, so it definitely made me a more empathetic marketer. Much more supportive of the salespeople. Because sometimes you think, oh, they got a cushy job. Not really. But I also learned that I didn't want to be a salesperson.
I was far too application side to, like, I hit my sales goal. I had my $3 million target.
Oh, you
But
sold?
yeah, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I could do it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hit targets. Sold a 5,000 siRNA druggable genome. It was being used like in a big screening project. Yeah. But yeah, and I think the hardest part too is like it was a job that I had basically all of North America, and I was traveling like 70% time, so it was just way too much time away from home. And my kids were small, so it was really worse.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to go back into industry right now.
Yeah.
Once you can take care of yourself, maybe I'll go back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really mind the travel, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's my job. And like younger days, I was like, oh man, I get to go here, I get to see this. First time in Pittsburgh. I got to see my old classmates from grad school.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. She and her husband live in Indiana, Pennsylvania. He was a faculty member there. Yeah, he liked it. He kind of liked the having the low pressure lab as opposed to the big university setting. So he enjoyed the teaching part of it. And he retired relatively young from there too. So. But Ellen and I were the only people to make it all the way through our graduate program. There's 5 of us who started. We're the 2 survivors.
For 45.
Michelle's texting me pictures of me in front of the poster.
Oh, Chris and I were talking about just interest of time, playing cut it, hey, Adriana, for time purposes, we're gonna cut customer retention discussion and just have them look at it on their own.
Okay.
Because otherwise we'd have to skip the wrap up, and I think the wrap up.
No, the wrapper I think is more important. Yes.
Have we warned them yet that they were gonna have to tell us what they learned?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Then I zoned out when you said that,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. No, that's.
I don't think we wanna hear from every person that.
No. No. We're gonna have like one person, each table, one person respond to one
Yeah.
question.
That's how I got that one.
Yeah. You're
Funnels,
yeah.
metrics.
Yeah.
Pick a question.
So metrics we're not actually doing. We're just saying, here are some
Actually, I think
metrics that you might be doing. This is going to be
that's where the rubber meets
or
the
your
road.
institution.
But any of those are fine. I will not bias people on that. Because I could see somebody who say, "We're going to be actual day 1, day 2."
Yeah,
There's some chatty ones out
that
there.
was a
Yeah.
homework.
It's good though.
We have several people that are like above
You want this to be interactive.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like,
No,
oh, I'm gonna make all
Yeah, no, this is going as I had been.
over the next year or so.
Yeah, I kind of talked to.
I was a little nervous about it, so how this is gonna go.
Yeah, this is a professional operation here.
Stop sounding so surprised.
Yeah. Hey, I had nothing better to do on a Sunday than try and figure out how to build a timer.
I tried a couple of times, I'm like, screw this, I'm just gonna use my phone, and then I saw you had done it, cause I saw that same, training online.
Oh, okay.
Those little videos on YouTube, how to
Oh,
build a
yeah.
timer.
Yeah.
This is too complicated.
I will say, there's some time and love into it. 'Cause I got the 5-minute version and thought, hey, and then I just,
Yep.
and I was looking and then I would cut and paste and I was trying to cut and paste like 15 minute times. Like I mean 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute. And I was trying to cut and paste for the various slides. And invariably, particularly the 15-minute timer, it got scrambled. And so it would start going, and then I'll go to here, and then I'd see that block appear, and stop. And I'm like, ah. So it's like, okay. So I literally went in and set all those blocks 2 seconds, and I'd sit there and watch it, and looking at like the animation thing, and go, okay, that one's there, because I didn't have them all labeled. The nice thing was is that the 1, 2, 3s were all labeled in the animation page, and so that kind of helped. That was kind of like my landmark.
Yeah. Well, it works, it's good.
Yeah.
I saw it really cool when somebody was presenting at a faculty affairs talk I went to, and they had it was like a waterfall, and it was kind of in the background on the side of the slide, and they would hit it, and it would just work its way down the slide.
Oh.
And it was like, I couldn't find it anywhere. I don't know where she got it, but
Yeah.
it was
So
nice.
so it was like a static image of a waterfall,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of just. Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Or I've seen an hourglass as well, which is, I think that's
Yeah.
impactful.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought I'd be able to get like a bar that would come across the
Yeah.
screen, but I couldn't figure out how to go any longer than 30 seconds from the animation. So that's why I was like, okay, well, damn it, if I break it into 30-second blocks. And then I saw some downloadable timers, but they cost money.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
then I had to incorporate them into like my version of PowerPoint. And companies very particular about us downloading stuff. Yeah, because clearly you don't want to be hacked.
Time for us to
We're
start
ready.
up.
Let's go.
Y'all ready?
Looks like everyone's back.
All right, welcome back. We're going to get started again. Sounds like some of you kept going, which is great. So we're going to move to marketing funnel. You'll have 15 minutes for this. We've made an executive decision because we're going to run out of time. So we're going to remove one of the sections today. We'll tell you which one when we get there. Something you can do at home. But all right, marketing funnel. You guys want to talk about that?
Microphone's right there.
So we already talked a little bit about marketing funnel at the beginning of the presentation. But basically, we're gonna try to build a strategy for this customer that you build your value proposition, like how would each of these stages would look like. And then on your workbook is defined like each stage, like awareness. Individual knows the core exists. And sometimes this is even like individual knows there's a problem, you know, and that it can be solved. So the idea here is to think, what are you doing currently to bring people into each of these stages? And a perfectly good answer is nothing. And then what new ideas you can think of to bring people into each of these stages. Okay?
Go.
So we have 50 minutes. Hopefully this is a little bit more fun because you get to think of new cool things to do.
Okay, time is up. So we're gonna actually give you homework for page 9. We're not gonna go through that one during the session. These are metrics to measure success, and you can see some of the ideas up here. You guys think about metrics all the time. There's been some talks about metrics during this meeting. So this one is a take-home, page 9. You can work on that. And there will be another page in a couple of sessions here in just a moment where we'll talk a little bit more about metrics. But we're going to move to page 11, reaching the target audience. Do you want to talk about that?
I wanted to let you know that just before that on page 10, which we're not going to do right now, but like there's a checklist that we built, and it all has like a check, but this is something you need to do for yourselves when before you're like, oh, okay, I'm launching my marketing campaign. Okay, so just for you guys to know. Okay. On page 11, where are these people? How do I talk to them? So you have to think about your audience and you already have the value prop. Like, what am I bringing to them? How does that look in a message? Because you're not going to be like, hey, we are the only core that provides faster sequencing for students working with yeast. Okay, so that's not the message that you're going to actually tell them. You're going to be like, if you have yeast and you want to sequence them, talk to me. Something like this. It has to be something more clear. The value prop you build, so you can build then the message for your audience. Okay? So where do you think you're going to find them? Are they checking the university website? Are they subscribed to a newsletter that you guys sent? Do you have a new student seminar at some point that you can be like, hey, can you please put my poster at the end of your presentation, or talk about my core when you cover the protein department? Or social media, okay? Maybe they're in social media. And you don't have to become a content creator. We don't expect the social media of Core Labs to be super fun and engaging or 24/7. But if you have a post, they're like, this is what I do, or here you can find my website. Sometimes that's enough. Which channels require high effort but low payoff, or high payoff? Because I feel like sometimes people are like, you know what I need is to pay for Google Ads. And I don't know if you guys run a Google Ads campaign, but it's terrible. You need to pay a lot of money, and you need to pay a lot of attention, and you have to be there looking at how it's doing all the time. So if you have a team of people who can do that, awesome. But if you don't go there. Or what new channels could you test this year? And also think not only digital, think also real channels. Like, what happens when people are next to you, like literally next to you? How do they find you? What happens when they're in the building across the street? How do they find you, you know? Okay. So for this, we have 10 minutes.
right, time is up. And we're going to move to page 12, converting interest into action.
Okay, something real quick. Okay, you already did all of this work, and you put your TikTok video in which you're dancing, and you're offering your sequencing, because that's your new channel. If you don't give your audience a clear action after that, all this work was for nothing. If you forget to put like, book your demo here, or learn more, or whatever, you just lost them, even though you did all this work. So this is something really important to think about. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to send an email? Do you want them to book a consultation? Do you want them to review your services? Because this could also be the advocate section, right? So here are some questions that you can think about. What call to actions you could add to your website or to your flyers or to your any channel that you worked with before? Is your booking process clear and simple? If not, what could be improved? Also think about times. If your booking process is, I sent an email and my part-time colleague who only works on Wednesdays is the one that's responsible for answering all of these emails, that means your leads are waiting 7 days at least, probably, to get a response. So that kind of stuff. Like, how is the onboarding process? Okay, I think this is going to be the last one. So give it your all.
We will do the assessing success, page 14. We're going to skip customer retention, but we'll do assessing success. So,
Because I saw customer retention as the next one. I thought this was the last one.
yeah, one more after that.
Never mind. The other last one, the second last one. Yeah.
We'll have, 10 minutes.
There's only 4 tables. So.
Yeah. And they'll just answer one question from each table, kind of a thing.
Chris, I don't know what you're doing, and I'm dragging, and the only other thing I did today was poster.
Today was a lot, yeah. Just all my stuff was today, so it's fine. It's kind of energizing.
So you're an extrovert?
I'm not. I'm an extroverted introvert. When I have to be, I'm going to be on. I prefer silence.
I can be on, but then I need my time to recover. Otherwise, I'm game over.
Yeah. I don't need as much time to recover. But I think, did you go to the neurodivergence talk?
No, I went to the other one. I'm going to listen to it.
I just identified myself in a lot of those things he was showing. Just the whole masking that we do, depending on who we're with and that kind of stuff, And so it's like, I learned this when I was in industry. It's like, you gotta be on. You can't, you gotta be connected, especially when you're trying to raise money or when you're selling, And that wasn't my natural bent, but I learned how to do it. And it's like, okay, I am at work, I am on, but when my commute home is gonna be silent. And the thing is, my wife's a verbal processor, so I get home and she needs to get it all out as well, so I don't have to talk. I can just listen. She doesn't need feedback. She just wants to say it.
It's probably better that you don't give her
I
feedback.
think it is, actually. So it works out. But I do like to have a fortress of solitude, for sure, whatever that means. I cycle, and then we bought a house in the mountains as a retreat. We don't rent it; it's just our place to go, and we let friends and family use it. But that's pretty special to have that, to check out. And I have a boss who, when I'm off, I'm off. He doesn't bother me. it's pretty great. But I don't miss industry. I'm gonna ride this one out. I'm gonna retire from academia unless the world blows up or whatever. But it's my wife was a federal employee for 37 years and she got dosed by Musk, and that was not good. She wasn't ready to retire. She was eligible, but she wasn't ready, and so she hasn't worked since last April. And it wasn't on her terms, right? She thought she had another month to say her goodbyes and close everything down. And she showed up on a Monday, and they're like, "Yeah, we're good. You're going home." And so it was just 37 years, and she's like, "I don't want to party. This is not how I wanted this to play out." And so she's been adjusting to retirement all this time, and I'm kind of looking at that, and I'm kind of scared of. I gotta do something. I gotta be busy. I gotta stay in the mix somehow. I'm not good at relaxing unless I'm forced to. And I think that's why we bought the place. She's just like, because when you go there, you work. I was like, I know, but I just can't sit down. There's always something to cut down or dig up or.
I mean, I zone out in the garden. That,
Yeah.
for me, ripping, like getting my anger out through ripping
Yeah, no,
weeds
there's
out is
something
like,
approach to it. Totally. You have to find your thing. As long as it's healthy, not hurt anybody else.
get out all my aggression and get a bunch of produce. So.
Yeah, sure. My dad's almost 80, and he's been retired for 14 or 15 years now. He can't sit still. He runs a food pantry at the church, and it's just like, "Dad, why are you going so hard?" She's like, "I can't sit on the couch. When I sit down, I'm gonna die."
My father-in-law retired for a year, and now he's a consultant
Yeah, yeah.
for 10 hours a week.
I've thought about that. I've actually started putting out some feelers. Just like, I'm gonna try to retire in the next 4 years, and I've already talked to my department and to the dean. It's like, I'd be happy to do a few things after I retire. I don't want to come in. I don't want to do much more than 2 days, but I would
You
do
just tell
something.
people all the things they're doing wrong and then peace out.
No, it's kind of how it feels. These gray hairs were earned. I've made a lot of mistakes, and so I've got plenty of stories to tell. I mean, and there's value in that, right? Don't make these same mistakes. If you help people with that, it can save them some time.
You've made all the mistakes, so you can tell them why it is a mistake.
Absolutely. Yep. How old are your kids?
I only have one. She's 4.5.
4.5. Is she in preschool or?
She's in preschool. You want to guess how much preschool is in Boston?
I can't imagine. I know how much it is in Raleigh.
30,000 a year. And so when she goes to kindergarten next year, we have to pay after school care because neither one of us can be done for free.
Sure.
So we'll still be paying, but we'll feel much richer.
Yeah. That's great. That's insane. I mean, I don't know how much you get paid, but a good chunk of your salary is going to just make sure she's okay every day. My son, his wife, we have the 2 kids, and they went the nanny route. My son works from home. He works for Verta, which is a healthcare company like me. He works for one of those, and so he can work from home. So he's there, but the nanny comes and takes care of the kids while he's there. So it's kind of a good setup, right? He's available if he's needed, and he can make sure that she's doing a good job and those kind of things. But the affordability is decent for something like that. And I think they only use her a couple of days a week, and then my wife babysits, which she loves. Grandma loves the nanny, and so it's actually worked out really well for everybody because Mandy loves it, and they only have to pay a nanny a couple of days a week. So it's good. Everybody figures it out. I mean, when we moved to North Carolina and I started my postdoc, my wife was working full time. I was working full time. Our son was 2, and we had to find a daycare. We didn't want to do that. But when she went back to work, after, let's see, how did that go? After she had him, that was our first. She went back to work for like 6 months, and she's like, I can't do this. I have to go part time. And she went part time 3 days a week and never looked back. And so he only had to be there for the days when she was working, but she never went back full time. So for 30 years, she was part time. It eventually worked out for her. She got the best of both worlds. She could interact with adults and do work and get paid, and then she could be home with kids a couple of days a week. So
And I totally understand. Like, I need to talk to adults for a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, for sure. So this is minute 10 coming up on. All right, time is up. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to skip page 13, customer retention. So this is something you can work on at home, thinking about how to keep your customers on board, that loyalty aspect. So we're going to skip that one. You can work on that at home. And we're going to go to assessing success. It's important to have some short and long-term goals as far as how you're going to measure your success.
So I lied earlier. I'm sorry. This is the last one. So we're working on this, and as you've seen, it's a complex subject, and it has like a lot of people involved, and there's like a lot of things we can do. So whenever you have decided, this is what I'm going to do, this is the people I'm talking to, this is how I'm reaching them, you need to then measure, am I being successful? You know, I wanted to create a chatbot, and I think the chatbot is going to bring me 3 hours of peace weekly. So you launch the chatbot, and then you measure maybe how many people are talking to the chatbot, how many things I actually don't have to do myself because the chatbot was able to answer whatever the person was asking successfully. That may be a short-term goal, and a long-term goal is maybe I can put more things into the chatbot, okay, if it's doing it good. How does this look like for you? Like, we don't know, but every time you try to change something to achieve a goal, and you guys know this, but also in marketing, you have to measure, am I going in the right way? Or is it like time to stop spending time, energy, and money on this path, and I need to move someplace else? So let's think about that for 10 minutes.
Actually, I think we're going to have to cut that to 5, just
5
so we have
minutes.
time for a wrap-up. So,
Okay.
sorry, but 5 minutes. We want to get you out of here on time. I'll just call it at 5. And we'll do the wrap-up. Okay, 5 minutes is up. That's quick, isn't it? So what we'd like to close out with is to hear from you. And so we've got some questions, and what we'd like to ask you to do is pick one of these questions as a table and share a take-home message from your table about one of these topics. So primary target audience, what did you come up with? What problem does your course solve? What's your core differentiator, key message, 30-day action plan? You don't have to go through all 30 days, but hopefully you can come up with one, and then success metrics. So take-home messages from one volunteer at each table. We'll start back here. Don't all jump at once.
First of all, thank you so much for a very interactive session. I loved it. One take-home message is, I think we are all facing similar challenges. Doesn't matter how small the core is or how well-known the core is. It's always the challenge is how to let people know that you exist, and once they leave, how you spread the word. So what we learn is it's a continuous process, and you have to keep on trying, harping on the same question, reach out to the same people again and again, do presentations, be shameless, and just make your presence known.
That's great.
Yeah. But should I ask I have one question too, but should I wait for the...
You can ask, yeah.
Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, because we base off of chargebacks, like we charge for our services, how should we ask for co-authorship or a percentile on a grant?
Yeah, that's a whole nother session, but I think you said it earlier, be shameless. I mean, you're the expert, right? Why shouldn't you expect to be included? I think that's the way we all need to look at it. I am contributing to this work. I'm just as important as that graduate student.
But am I not charging for it?
They're paying for it.
They pay for reagents and they have
Yeah.
to put that on there.
Take it. I will be shameless.
So our institution has very strict rules about this.
Thank you.
If you do not intellectually contribute to the development of the project, right, the steering of the project, then you don't get a co-authorship. If you are doing something that you would do for anybody who came along, then that's an acknowledgement. But if I have an idea, if I develop a method, if I say you can't do that way, or I see something and it changes the trajectory, then I'm an author.
That's great.
So it really depends upon the service.
Okay, this table?
Oh boy. We had a lot of varying conversations throughout the workshop, so this will be interesting. I think generally we were trying to understand how to reach, ironically, the people who are already in our institutions, so internal trainees. And for me, I'm a core administrator who is not a scientist. I oversee or support multiple cores. So I was trying to think about this in a more general sense. So we're really obviously trying to deliver high value data to a sensitive, mostly graduate trainees is who I'm thinking about, a sensitive target audience in an effective and flexible way. And I think our on-site expertise and flexibility is sort of the one of the biggest selling points for the course at the Institute. Key message, we're here. We're already here. We've been here. We've been talking to you. We've been giving you ice cream. We'll continue to be here. We'll continue to give you ice cream and bring in vendors who will give you lunch. Please come seek us out for our expertise. And I think in general, we were talking to some degree about newsletters and TikToks, maybe some different channels in which we might reach out to not only say we exist, but also maybe create a different environment and lower the threshold, humanize the cores in a little bit different way, kind of make a fresh conversation for people to engage with directors. Success metrics. Success metrics. Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah. Just one question. That was all great, though. Thank you.
Good stuff. Here?
Yeah, sure.
It helps that we work together. But I've been learning a lot about how we can leverage. So just brief introduction. Dora's in cancer. I'm on the non-cancer side, but I manage all of the cores from a business perspective. She's a core director. But how we can bring this back and leverage both sides of the aisle, I guess you could say, to make it a more cohesive marketing, for all of the cores, not just one core in particular. So I think that's been really helpful to talk through.
That's great. I think we all face that, right? We all want to be singing out of the same hymnal, so to speak, telling the same story. So that's good that you guys realize that today.
Who's the spokesperson? He, she?
Who do you think?
Okay, I will say 30-day action plan. We were talking about social media this last conversation, and I was thinking like we could share vignettes on LinkedIn, and then by measuring it by. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, vignettes. We have to do this in the cancer center, so something that shows research that we in the core helped do to create this figure that then also contributed to high impact publication and grants, which typically for CCS, the Cancer Center Support Grant is an R1 or DOD, right? So sharing something like that, showing here's what we've done in this core, and then looking for metrics by seeing how many impressions we have and seeing if that's increased. And like I just looked right now at my ABRF post from yesterday, and it says it had 402 impressions and drove one profile view, but no one else followed me. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't need that, right? But anyway, so I guess we could look for that too to see if someone else followed us. So that was one idea.
You all should follow Jennifer. She's very active on LinkedIn. She posts a lot of great content.
I think we have one more slide.
Yeah, the QR code.
Yeah. This workbook, that's the QR code again. Feel free to download it. I believe the slides are going to be made available, but if for some reason they're not, we're happy to provide them to people for follow-up. The workbook, Adriana and Austin built this workbook, and they did it kind of as part of their responsibilities for something that we have at Motility called the Core Club. And so it's this free club that people in cores can join. It's targeted to core administrators and staff, and there's a number of benefits that are associated with it, including trainings like this, because we want to help enable cores to be successful, because when you're successful, we of course are successful, and we, like you, see value in having these shared resource labs. So if you want to learn more about the Core Club, they can tell you all about it. I'm not going to go through benefits or anything like that, but I did want to acknowledge all of their work. Appreciate all of the cooperation from the other members of this team. It was a great experience. I hope it was good for you folks. We do invite feedback, positive, negative. I would like to do this for other groups. You guys just happen to be the pilot, so. But always about trying to make things better. So, Chris, any closing comments?
No, thank you all for attending.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and if people want more copies of the paper copies, feel free. We have plenty.
They don't want to bring it back. So were we worth the $25? Okay. Oh.
one of you wants to try to get there, we can probably figure out a way to fund the travel.
Yeah.
Usually speakers at Mass I get the travel covered. So I can send you more details once they kind of lock it in. We don't know if it's going to be the same time frame or maybe a little bit longer or shorter. We don't know yet.
I don't think we have any trouble getting that time approved, and we can figure out who goes based on what somebody's workload is as they travel.
Okay.
But
We'll take it on the road.
it could be one of us, and maybe if two people want to go, and just, wow, we're just gonna fund one of you. Maybe we could get some budget for it, tied into some other activities that we do.
And we could also make like an online webinar version of it, which is not like, okay, now 5 minutes for you
Yeah.
to go do this, because it's online.
Yeah.
So we're like,
More like the training part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, which would be something that'd be nice if we put in associated with Core Club too, and have it for like, maybe just, we could, if we wanted to try people to join. Why not, it's free. And you get access to it via the Core Club login or something.
yeah, I
Wait,
feel
there's
like
a
you can-
login? I've never been handed a login.
No.
Okay. Okay.
We try to have a separate page just for this.
Part of it.
These are things we talk about doing, you know. We're continually developing and refining that Core Club too. These guys are, I should say. I just wish we were doing
Oh, I found the bag.
So what does the rest of your night look like?
We have another workshop right now
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we have like
about self-sorting.
yeah, it's more, it's like a showcase.
We only need
Oh,
to,
yeah.
to sit there and
Yeah.
look pretty.
Yeah.
So, and they're gonna give us snacks and drinks.
Yeah, we get snacks and drinks for 30 minutes. There's some flow presentation. You have plans?
I'm gonna go eat cold pad thai because I don't have a fridge. And pretend that would exist for a while, and then I'm gonna go to the Alpenboro is doing like wine and appetizers at Barcelona Wine Bar.
Oh, we're gonna go to Barcelona later today as well. But like later.
I'm not gonna be late.
Because Liv is
Yeah,
like
you're-
my number one
You're a
priority
mom,
now.
like,
Yeah.
if you get a chance to sleep, you get it.
Yeah, I feel so happy. Before becoming a mom, I hated eating by myself, and now I love it because of my
No one's trying to get on your lap, no one's complaining about your food.
Yeah, no one's like, why are you walking over there? Why do you not have a shirt on? Like, I don't have to worry about that.
At no point do I get interrupted. I gotta get your pants back off.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like a boy thing or.
No, Clara does it too sometimes, that she's just like, I'm hot, I took off my pants. And I'm like, but we're eating something hot.